video. Hi, hello, it's nice to see you. I'm glad you could make it. If you cannot tell from all of the books sitting around me right now and by the title of this video, I am choosing delusional. I am choosing delulu. I am choosing to be blissfully unaware of how long it takes to read words on paper, because this is my arguably extremely unrealistic fall TBR. Now, hear me out, hear me out. I am so mentally, like psychologically, in my reading girly era right now. I have desperately missed the feeling of reading that I had last fall. I feel like I had fun over the summer. I was reading lots of cutesy, fun little romance time. And now I want to be emotionally, mentally, I think those are the only two, devastated by everything that I am picking up and reading, along with a couple of cutesy fun little palette cleansers in between. So I thought we could go through my extensive, unrealistic, but like delusionally, this is real for me, I'm gonna read all of this, fall TBR. So you can either let me know which ones I must pick up and must read ASAP. However, I feel that way about every single one of the books around me. I currently have a book buying problem. I'm currently in a state of my life that absolutely everything I see on a shelf is jumping out at me and I really want to have already read. All of these I want to have already consumed. Or if you're in the market for some books to add to your fall TBR, I think you're in the perfect place. We can literally read them together. But before we get into anything, I do want to take a quick second to say thank you to today's sponsor. And you might be looking at my cute, cozy, functional little outfit I have going on right now and wondering where the heck can I get one of those? And the answer would be today's sponsor, the oodie. Me and my mom have always joked that we are blanket people. It does not matter the season, the time, the temperature, anything. If I am sitting, there will be a blanket on my body. Now, I encounter issues when I try to do any task, when I try to get up, when I try to do my makeup, when I try and cook, when I'm reading and my hands have to come out. The oodie has single-handedly solved every single one of these issues. I am currently wearing the coffee oodie, and by currently wearing, I mean currently living in, because the way that I have taken all of my naps, read all of my books, done my makeup this morning, cooked this morning, inside of this blanket, having the most cozy experience of my entire life. Like, I cannot explain to you how nice it is to wear a blanket, a functional blanket. I can do everything that I need to do and I can be cozy. Like, it's truly a match made in heaven. They have the cutest designs that you have ever seen, and coming into fall, there's nothing that I want more than to have a cup of tea in this hand, even though I don't drink tea. I don't. However, I will for the aesthetics of it all, and my fantasy girl fall pick in my other hand. Like, there is nothing better. I do have a discount code if you guys want to grab one of your own, and a huge thank you to the oodie for sponsoring today's video and for sponsoring my life, because I will be living in this for the foreseeable future. It'll be on my body 24/7. I have all of the books broken into piles based on their genres. There's another pile behind me. I don't have anywhere else to put it where you can see it, so you just have to know what's living behind me. And before anyone gets mad at me that something is categorized slightly incorrectly, okay, I haven't read these yet. I'm not 100% sure where they sit. However, I did my best to break them into genres. Starting off, we have my teeny tiny little contemporary romance, I think. These are the books that I consider to be my palette cleansers. These are books that I really do want to read this fall. I feel like they could be giving fall energy, but they're still contemporary romances. These are the books that I imagine breaking up all of my like hard-hitting fantasy, emotionally disturbing thrillers with. Like, these will be my fun time. Addicted for Now by Kristen Becker Ritchie. You've seen this on so many TBRs. I know, I get it. I'm not addicted to the Addicted Callaway Sister series. I told myself that I was going to pick it up and start reading again in the fall. I just think I have to. Everybody says the third book is when you fall in love with them. There's just so many books on my TBR that I've wanted to read that this just hasn't been up there, and I told myself fall, so it is up there now. I think the found family in this book is going to go so hard. The Addicted Callaway Sister series is we're basically following the addicted main characters, which are, it's been so long, Lily and Lo, and they both have an addiction to something. She is addicted to sex and he is addicted to alcohol, and it's them navigating their relationship. And then throughout the time we meet the other Callaway sisters and their love interests, and the books move forward with them as well. The Deal by Al Kennedy. Okay, I actually have this entire series. Okay, I have the entire off-campus series, and I want to read the entire off-campus series this fall. They're hockey romances. They're so fun. I feel like it's a rite of passage. I haven't read them. I don't know why I said they're so fun. They could not be fun at all. I think they're fun because they feel like a reader girly rite of passage. Like, I feel like I missed the mark. I feel like I already should have read these, and it feels like a sin that I am on the internet talking about books and I haven't read these yet. I'm actually thinking about doing a video reading all 5, spoiler free. Let me know if you guys want that, but I'm thinking about doing it. And I did collect the entire series with these beautiful sprayed edges, so it's just time. And summer didn't feel like the right time because they're hockey romances, so now feels like the right time. Like, this will be my go-to palette cleanser. The Ex-Hex by Erin Sterling. This is obviously going to be an October read, okay? However, again, this is another one I feel like a rite of passage. I should have already read it. I'm not like a huge themed books person. Like, I think I have one other Christmas themed book. Like, I don't think I have any Halloween themed books. I'm not a huge themed books person. However, I've heard actually really good things about this and that people really like it, and it's teeny tiny, so I feel like I just should pick it up, and I could get in the mood for some Halloween-y, witchy kind of books this year, if I'm not mistaken about what this is about. Which, by the way, if you're here, I love going into books blind, and if you wanted a real in-depth synopsis about what any of these books are about, you are 100% in the wrong place. I hate to break it to you. The entirety of my TBR is forever and will always be based on the vibes, or one review I saw online that just sold me. But I'm pretty sure this is about a girl who is a witch who is exed. Wrong. I'm pretty sure this is about a girl who's a witch who has hexed her ex, and now it's affecting other people, and they have to work together to break the hex. If I'm not mistaken, but I could be. With all of these, I could be. I've heard that Mariana Zapata is the queen of slow burn, and something about fall feels slow burny to me, and I feel like I need to pick this up. I know, again, you've seen this in so many TBR videos. I feel like I need to get to it. I feel like this will emotionally devastate me, which I don't know about you, but for some reason, I equate fall reading and like winter reading with heavy tears. I want tears in this time of year. You know, I want it to be raining outside, and I want it to be raining down my face. I didn't like that. Not one singular clue what this is about, literally not one. But I know that she is a queen of slow burn, and I know that people love her, and I know it's a crime I have not read her. The Unmaking of June Farrow by Adrienne Young. I know this will emotionally devastate me, just based on the books that I have ranted and raved about, that this book was recommended to me in thereof. Imagine I could make one singular sentence make sense today. I've always been recommended this when I've talked about books that have like emotionally devastated me and I have loved with everything in me. So I have a feeling that this is going to be kind of the same experience. Absolutely no clue what this is about. And I think I really want to go in blind. I know this is so many people's favorite books. I know that so many people love it. I can imagine a world that I am obsessed with this and it becomes one of my favorite books, and I want to know nothing going in. I want every single turn, every single character introduction, everything to be a surprise for me. Out on a Limb by Hannah Bonham Young. Okay, I know this is another one I should have read, okay? I was planning on reading it this summer. I didn't get around to it, but I feel like this will be such a beautiful, perfect palette cleanser. I've heard that this is a pregnancy trope done right. I've heard that so many people love Hannah Bonham Young's writing, and I haven't read anything yet. So to me, this just screams palette cleanser in the most beautiful way. Now that we've gotten our fun little palette cleansers out of the way, although those could devastate me. I don't know. Let's get into some books that I think could terrify me. That's dramatic. I don't have any thrillers that I actually think will terrify me because I am squeamish, and I will be up at 1 in the morning scared. So maybe more psychologically thrilling. I feel like I talk about it a lot, so if you've seen my face before, you're probably pretty aware that I am an avid true crime listener. I listen to true crime at 2 a.m. walking my dog by myself in the middle of downtown Toronto. Like, true crime is just one of the things that actually captures my brain and I can actually listen to and focus on. But for some reason that has never translated to reading thriller books until as of late, because I've discovered the world of listening to thrillers as audiobooks, and it's gotten me in my thriller bag, and I am so finally ready to read the thrillers that I've had on my TBR for quite literally forever. The House Across the Lake by Riley Sager. I have had this forever. I know this is another one that I should have already read. I have not read a single Riley Sager book, and I've heard so many good and bad things about the books in general, so I feel like I just need to form my own opinion. And this is probably one of the books that has lived on my physical TBR the longest, so really it would be a check of productivity if I could get it off of my physical TBR. If I remember what I think this was about correctly, it's about a recently widowed actress that's staying at her family's cottage, and there is a house across the lake that weird stuff is happening at, and that's where the thriller is unfolding. His and Hers by Alice Feeney. Not one clue, because I want to go in blind. I went into rock, paper, scissors blind this time last year, ate it up, loved it, literally bought and gave that book to so many people because of how much the twist got me in that book, and I have been grasping to get that feeling again, and I know Miss Alice Feeney is going to deliver. This is probably the one in this pile that I am the most excited about. The reviews that I have seen about this book recently, okay? The God of the Woods by Liz Moore. She's chunky for any type of thriller, okay? We're based in August 1975 at a summer camp in the Adirondacks, which just sounds like the absolute perfect setting for a thriller that has ever existed, when one morning one of the bunk beds is empty. I know this deals a lot with uncovering a lot of family secrets and a lot of family lore. I think it's gonna be amazing. I wish I saved the video. I saw someone give a review of this book at like 75% in, saying, you know, when you don't want to finish a book because you know that nothing is ever going to top it, like you want to be able to read it forever. That is exactly how I want to feel about a book. The Family Upstairs by Lisa Jewell. I actually already used an Audible credit and it is currently downloaded on my phone, so I think this is the next book I will be listening to. Every single one of Lisa Jewell's thrillers that I've listened to have been immaculate, like across the board. Some of the best audiobooks, some of the best twisty storytelling. There is something about her thrillers, I would classify them myself, I don't actually know, as psychological thrillers, because from the beginning, or from pretty early on, I feel like you kind of already know where the story is going to go. Like, it's pretty clear where the story is going to go, but you have no idea how you're going to get there, and then you finish them and you sit back and you're like, what? Truly the best feeling. Now, this is not necessarily a thriller. This is a YA true crime-esque book, which you guys know is one of my favorite genres that I have coined myself. That is not a real genre, but I call it the YA true crime-esque genre, and that is One of Us is Lying by Karen M. McCann. I am done The Naturals. I am done A Go-Go's Guide to Murder. The only book I have left by Holly Jackson is the reappearance of Rachel Price, and that is on my fall TBR. However, I don't want to leave her writing behind. Like, I want to be able to read something by her again. So I don't know if I'm going to pick it up yet, because I know a time will come that I really want to pick up one of her books, and if I've read everything, my little heart will break into a million pieces. This is the next series I'm going to try. I tried Truly Devious and didn't like it. That is one that I constantly get recommended when I talk about the YA true crime-esque book. The Naturals and A Go-Go's Guide to Murder has left a hole in my heart that I just simply do not know how to fill, and this is what I'm going to attempt to try to make it fill. From what I've gathered, this is like a Breakfast Club meets true crime-esque YA novel. A bunch of kids end up going to detention together, but one of them does not come out, and I'm assuming they have to try and solve that. Now getting into my absolute favorite genre to read in the fall. We're talking fantasy girl fall. I am so deep in my fantasy girl fall mood. I cannot put into words how excited I am for the leaves to be changing, for it to be getting dark earlier, to light a candle, for it to start raining, and read a fantasy book. I can't put into words the feeling that encapsulates. If you get it, you get it. Quicksilver by Kelly Hart. This is actually my book club's book pick for September, so this will be read. I actually think I'm starting this tomorrow, which I'm very excited about. I have no clue, not one clue, other than it's enemies to lovers. The banter is amazing. It's so many people who read so much Romantici's like favorite book of this year so far. I've heard the side characters in this are amazing. I've heard the world is amazing. I've heard that the spice is really well placed. I think it's just going to be immaculate, and I have such high expectations for it. It does seem very long. However, I can get behind a very long fantasy book when the world, the characters, and everything just works together perfectly. Belladonna by Adeline Grace. Now you might be like, Maddie, hey babes, love you so much. That's not Belladonna. You're 100% correct, because I impulse bought this because I love a mini hardback. I love a mini hardback, and I was like, I will be able to find the first two in the series in the mini hardback if I just get this and it's on my bookshelf and I remember. Then someone let me know that the entire box set of the hardcovers is being released on October 1st. So this is being returned, and I did already pre-order the entire box set so I can have the entire matching series, because I don't know if you guys have seen the naked hardbacks for this series. Yeah, and that's how beautiful it is. The Hunted Heir by Holly Renee. This is going to be my very first ever, I think, hate read. I think it is. I think it will be. Not actually. I didn't hate The Veiled Kingdom. I think I adamantly disliked it. I feel like that's the best way I can explain it. I feel duped by how many people really loved it. It was totally and completely fine. It was entertaining. I read it in my last 24-hour reading video, and in the beginning I was like, it's not great. It really jumped right in there, but like maybe it'll be really good. Like, I'm entertained. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I will be reading on because I'm curious, and I did buy this when I was like 30-40 pages into The Veiled Kingdom, thinking that I would really like it and I would want to read on. I don't hate it. I don't. I'm curious to see what's going to happen. I'm not actually hate reading it. I would never hate read something. If I know I'm going to hate it, I wouldn't subject myself to that. However, I'm curious about the characters. I'm curious to see where the story is going to go. Just was not one of my favorite reads ever. It was just like fine. The Spell Shop by Sarah Beth Thurst. This sounds cozy in a way that I cannot explain. Can I just read you this sentence on the back? Okay. Join Keela the librarian and her assistant Kaz the sentient spider plant. I already love him, as they navigate the low-stakes market of illegal spell-making and high-risk business of starting over. I think it's going to be cozy in a way that fall feels, and the beautiful purple sprayed edges edition of this, I feel like I have to read this copy first, and then if it's really good, I will go out and get the purple sprayed edges. But if I don't really like it, I don't need two copies, you know? Lady Macbeth by Ava Reid. I very rarely go into the bookstore and will see a book that I'm like interested in, read the cover, and buy it. Normally, I will see a book that I'm interested in, read the cover, and then think about it. No, this sold me right out of the gate. No freaking clue. Literally no idea. Something about the vibes and the fact that she also wrote A Study in Drowning, which so many people loved last fall, was enough to sell me. Need I add the beautiful hot pink naked hardback? Yeah, that's basically what sold me. You know those books that you can't really put into words why it's high on your mental TBR? It just is. Like, you think it's gonna be good for no explainable reason. That's this for me. Ninth House and Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. I've been telling myself, I've been telling you, I've been telling the whole world, I will read these when fall comes. Fall's here. It is officially time to read these. From what I've gathered, people love or hate them, and this is like a dark academia, kind of confusing, big world, big cast of characters kind of book, which is one of my favorite types of reading ever. Like, if this gives me any semblance of the feelings that the Atlas 6 gave me last fall, I will be the happiest bunny that's ever been alive. Long Shadow and 10,000 Stitches by Olivia Atwater. Have a Soul is my most recent 6-star read, and these are the books that come after that. In Olivia Atwater's Regency Fairy Tales series, I have not one singular idea what these are about. I bought them while reading Half a Soul without even thinking. Like, literally just was like, yep, add to cart, check out, they're coming. Didn't check if the story carried on, didn't check if they were with different characters and it was interconnected. I don't even care, because the way that she writes is magical in a way that I can't put into words. The quirkiness and funness, but also heartwarmingness of Half a Soul changed me on a molecular level in a way that I cannot explain, and I need that again. This whole series takes place in the Regency era, so think they talk like Bridgerton Fallen, they're in the Ton, that kind of vibe. And in the first one, our main character's mom has sold her soul, and when that fairy from the fairy realm comes to collect, he only ends up getting away with half of her soul, but now she's like kind of weird and quirky. I have no idea what these characters are about, but the way that book made me feel, the way that I think about that book daily, I want that again. This Is How You Lose the Time War. This is another one that has been recommended to me and shoved down my throat so many times. I said that like a negative thing. It's a very good thing. I've heard that this has changed so many people's lives and that it's so many people's favorite book, and it's so many people's like recent 5-star read, and it's so freaking tiny. I saw this at the bookstore and was absolutely blown away by how short it was. I know it is about correspondence, either recovered or in the moment, between two different rival agents, and I think that there's a time element, like a time travel, slipping through time kind of element, but I've heard that this is like such an impactful read, which is exactly what I'm looking for right now. The entire Kingdom of the Wicked trilogy is for sure right up there at the very top of my TBR. I asked in my book club chats what I needed to know going into Throne of the Fallen, which is the spin-off adult series after this series, and so many people were like, you don't need to know a ton, but it gives you a lot of world building, and I actually think you'll really like it. So I took their advice and I started Kingdom of the Wicked on my Kindle, and I'm like halfway into it right now and loving it. It's such an easy read, and the entire lore of the Princes of Hell and the Prince of Wrath that we're following in Kingdom of the Wicked, and then the witches in Italy, and all of the magic of this world and the way the world is constructed has so far been like very concise and very effective and very entertaining. I'm really liking where the series is going, and it feels like a rite of passage that I honestly thought I would never read, but I'm so glad that I did pick up. So I think if you're considering reading this before going into Throne of the Fallen, so far I'd recommend it. If you also heard online that they're like extremely YA and not that good, I also heard that, and I so far don't agree. And therefore, Throne of the Fallen by Carrie Maniscalco, this is a spin-off adult version about another one of the Princes of Hell, and I've heard amazing things about this. I've had this on my TBR for an extremely long time. I always hemmed and hawed about whether I was going to read Kingdom of the Wicked first. I'm very much the person that likes to have read everything before going into another book in a spin-off series, but I didn't think I was going to do it with this. But so far I'm really happy that I did. I think it's going to be a very Carrie Maniscalco fall. House in the Cerulean Sea by TJ Klune. The reviews I've heard of this is just that it's immaculately cozy, which gives me a lot of the feelings that I want to feel this fall. Our main character works for the department in charge of magical youth, and I don't know a ton about this. I don't, and I don't even want to read about it because this feels like the type of book that I want to go in blind to, but I know that all of the kids at this house on the Cerulean Sea, which is kind of like an orphanage for magical children, if I'm not mistaken, our main character ends up there to do some casework and ends up having like really interesting and introspective conversations and experiences with the kids that have kind of been cast away into this house. A Darker Shade of Magic by V. Schwab. I've had this on my bookshelf for so long, and I loved the way that she wrote in The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. It just felt really slow to me, and I didn't feel crazy connected to the characters, and from what I've heard, this is a lot more high stakes, a lot more action packed, and I think I will love this a lot. And I've had it on my shelf for so long. This and Ninth House are probably the fantasy books that have been on my shelf the longest, and I really want to get to them. Like, I think that they're going to be really good, and the way that her writing made me feel in The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, but then add stakes, add more fantasy elements, add more of a fantasy world, I think it's going to be amazing. Immortal Dark. This is probably one of the highest books on my TBR. I remember when the author started posting on TikTok saying that this book was coming out, like, it's been one of my most anticipated releases. The release edition of it is so beyond beautiful, and all that I know about this is that it is a dark academia about vampires kind of energy, which I cannot put into words how badly I feel like I need that in my life. And that is a little rundown of my fall TBR. Let me know if you guys have read any of these and what you guys think of them. I know that it's very much a long shot, and there's a very real chance that I'd be delusional to think I'm going to read all of these. However, these are all the books that are on my hit list for fall, and honestly, even going into winter. I am so in the mood for fantasy reads, or if you're adding any of them to your own fall TBR. Fall TBRs are my favorites. Like, I love the idea of reading in fall. I know I've talked about it literally everywhere, and I will not shut up about fall reading, but I'm just excited in a way I cannot explain. And a huge thank you to the oodie for sponsoring this video, and honestly for sponsoring my fall wardrobe moving forward, because that has honestly become my now reading fall non-negotiable. I didn't know that I needed one in my life, but now that I have one, I would venture to say that everyone needs one in their life. And I hope to see you in the next one. Love you. Bye. If you were wondering where all the books went in the process of filming this, it's on the floor. Like, in a mess on the floor. Yeah.